This is going to be concept 2 of unit 10, which is basically going to be known as our measures of center. But what we're really going to do here is we're going to compare data. All right, so the title of this concept is comparing data, but we're going to focus on the measures of center in order to do that. So what are the measures of center? They are mean, median, mode, and range. What the measure of center means is that it gives us an overall idea of where the center of the data or the middle of the data is, but we do it in different ways. So I'm just going to go through all of these for you to get a general understanding, and then we're going to apply mean, median, mode, and range first to dot plots, which we've already learned about, as well as box plots, or in other words, box and whisker plots. They're the same thing. Or some of you might have heard cat box or something like that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. So the mean is basically when you add all the numbers, then divide by the total amount of numbers. Okay, so add all numbers and divide by total amount. Okay, so over here we're going to use Julie's scores on the math test this year. As you can see, she got 85, 67, 92, 50, 100, and another 92. So whenever you're talking about the measures of center, it is best to always start by writing your numbers in order from least to greatest. So let's just go ahead and do that. So we have 50 first. Just cross that off. And then we have 67. Next we have 85, 2 92s. So get the 85 out of there and 2 92s, and then 100. Okay, the reason why we do this, it makes it easiest to identify the maximum and minimum number, and it helps us with the median. Okay, so in order to calculate the mean now, all I'm going to do is add everything up and divide by the total amount. In this case, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. So I'm going to divide by 6 at the end. So here's how I usually do this. So 50 plus 67 plus 85 plus 92 plus another 92 plus 100. Okay, that's all going to be divided by 6. So when you add all of this up, you get a total of 486. And we're going to divide by 6. So my final answer is going to be 81. So the mean is going to be 81. The average is 81. Okay? Now let's move on to the next thing. Next is going to be called our median. Now I already have this lined up from least to greatest, and here's the procedures from the first step, just in case you need to take a look at it throughout the video. So the median is basically the middle number when put in order from least to greatest. Okay, when ordered from least to greatest. Goodness, I can't write today. Least to greatest. Okay, so as you can see over here, I'm going to order from least to greatest, and I'm going to find the middle number. But we have to do this a special way. So we have 50, 67, 85, 92, 92, and 100. So I'm going to try to find the middle. So I'm going to cross this out, and as you can tell, I don't have one number in the middle. The reason for that is because I have an even amount of numbers. If I had an odd amount of numbers, that number in the middle would just be my median. But because I have 2, I have to do something special here. And by special, I mean I have to add both numbers up, and then I have to divide by 2. So I'm basically finding the mean of these two numbers. So 92 plus 85 is going to give us 77. And when we take 77 and divide by 2, we get 88.5. So in this case, my median would be 88.5. Okay, so like I said, the only reason why we do that is because we have an even amount of numbers. If it was an odd amount of numbers, it would just be that number in the middle. Let's move on to the next one. Now, mode is the easiest one. All mode is the number that shows up the most. The number that shows up the the most. Okay, so as we can see, 92 is the only number that occurs twice, so our mode is simply just 92, and that's it. Lastly, we have our range. Now, the range is when you take the biggest number and you subtract it by the smallest number. So that's why it was important to put your numbers from least to greatest first, so you could go ahead and just quickly identify that. So for the range, subtract the minimum number by the maximum number. Okay? Now, all that's going to be is 100 minus 50 is going to give us 50. So in this case, our mode is going to be equal to 50. Okay, so here is our last page with just everything together. And that's basically it. Mean, median, mode, and range. You're going to find mean to be most likely the difficult one because you're going to have to add everything up and then divide. But other than that, everything else is straightforward. Just try to remember the definition, and we're going to work with this with dot plots as well as box plots in the next couple of days.